Hey guys, me and team here, and today I'm bringing you a Zerg mirror. Once again, I am in blue, my opponent's in red. Very creative on the colors. I know. And this will be a Zerg mirror. Yeah, I don't know what to say about Zerg mirror. These are usually just clickfest with lings and blings, and whoever can press the other person's worker line and kill their production first will generally win this matchup if both go lings and blings. But as you can probably guess by the timer in this game, this one doesn't go that way. And so I felt like I'd be a decent one to show, since their mirror, for me at least, usually doesn't go like this. It's usually much less of a macro game and much less of a late tier unit game. So he goes pull, I guess it's 15 or 14. I actually do the same thing. I don't usually like doing that in Zerg, but I didn't get a close spawn, I guess. So I figured I would not worry about a 6 pull rush as much. Because if you go like 15 pull or 14 pull, and your opponent 6 pulls you, and they have good micro, they can actually take you down. I showed a game like that earlier in the, I believe it was either my I think it was my Platinum 101s, where I just 6 pulled a Zerg and bounced off his hatchery a bunch of times. And then as his lings came out, killed the lings, ran around, he stayed away from his drones, killed the lings, ran around, until eventually he died. And I don't want that to happen to me, but with this kind of distance, I'd be able to get some lings out by the time enemy lings would reach, so I wouldn't have to worry about it. So here he goes. I think I sent a unit in here earlier to see the Roach Warren, so I actually knew he was going roaches. Or no, I'm going to see that shortly with that ling. He sends his own scouts in. He doesn't see anything of consequence. Well, no, he does. He notices I'm going lair tech, and I'll see roaches on his end. He's also going lair tech here. No, he has lair tech also. So yeah, and I also see that he's got an expansion going up. So I'm playing a little bit more one base, a little bit more straight countering, and he's trying to macro up. So we'll see how that goes. And interestingly enough, where's his fire? There it is. I didn't know he was going mutas also. We are very close in terms of our Mutalisk timing. So we both decided to go for longer term Zerg play in this game. Usually if someone goes for like a Spire without a Baneling's nest, which notice neither of us has a Baneling nest, yeah, you'll just get killed by all-in lings. If you guys want, I can show yet another video where I do just that. In fact, I think I will. I think I'll put that video up too, just after this one. Because I actually did play that game right after this one. And who doesn't love all-in strategies, right? So he's going Mutalisks, and I'm going Mutalisks, and it's going to be a Mutalisk party in his base. He doesn't react right away, but, you know, he saw me. He had enough time. There really wasn't any chances of me doing anything against the queen and 4 mutas. So I'll kill a queen, he'll kill a muta. That's a good trade for him. I'll try to micro a little bit here. A little bit difficult, just because I screwed up the initial unit. I actually do win that little micro fest, but then he has reinforcements, so I have to retreat. So retreat I do. And yeah, this muta actually escapes. I didn't realize it did until later. But that's useful. And now I'm just starting to get my expansion up, but I had already built some drones, so I'm able to saturate actually only a little bit more slowly than him. Part of the reason I came out ahead of him in terms of saturation is look at all these spore and spine crawlers all over the place. I mean, just the threat of mutas, I guess, really threw him off. I think part of the reason he's doing that, though, is that he decides to transition to hydralisks and roaches. Whereas I'm going to stick with mutas, although I don't know that he knows that I'm sticking with mutas just yet. Here we go. Yeah, now he probably suspects that I'm sticking with mutas. But yeah, this is on top of the drone cost. I mean, you're looking at 450 minerals, even more. Plus, you have to add in the spore crawlers there, and more spore crawlers there. That's a lot of money for passive base defenses. And if the fighting doesn't go on there, that's money that he won't be able to do anything with. Yeah, I decided to go and snipe the Overlord that I had vision of thanks to the Zelnaga tower control. Excuse me. Now, here I take lings. He actually saw the lings. I guess he decided not to go after them. I don't know, I put them there to see if I could do a counterattack, not knowing that he'd constructed so many of these spore and spine crawlers. And I'm going to see that right here when he brings in, when I go to attack him and I see he has, lots of hydralisks, as well as, I gotta look at the spore crawler and the spines on this side. So I was a little bit fearing that army, and wisely so. I mean, he even has more units in use than I do right now, although he's pretty close to supply blocking himself. Notice he's also going corruptors. I don't know. Those are, I don't want to say a hard counter to mutas. They're a little bit better against mutas than mutas are against them, but they're still not great. But it is the Zerg's best air-to-air. But he probably would have been better off just sticking with more hydralisks, I think, which are less resource intensive and get the job done just as well, really, if not better. I don't know. I'm really not a big fan of Zerg anti-air other than hydras in general. So anyway, I'm going to mass up Mutalisks. Notice that I actually have one upgrade on my air power already, so that's going to help me. But I'm also bringing in 2 evolution chambers to start upgrading Zerglings. And I built an infestation pit. I will be upgrading high tech soon and going for adrenaline glands, so that I have strong Zerglings. And this is pretty standard old school Zerg play right here, so it's kind of nice to see that. I don't get a chance to do that very much anymore. Being a little bit negligent with the creep tumors. You guys will probably yell at me for that. You guys even yell at Starcraft for that, and he's a lot better than me, so yeah, I'll neglect our creep tumors a little bit. Yeah, opponent is not, he doesn't even have an evolution chamber, so he's going to fall behind on the upgrades. Meanwhile, he's Psylocke himself again. Now I actually have a larger army. I guess he just didn't, he neglected his saturation of his expansion. Like, he went for the expansion and didn't saturate it. Burrow is interesting, pathogen glands. I'm not sure why he's going infestors here. And really, unless you're up against Ultralisks, I don't really understand them in Mirror. Even then, they're they're not that great. So yeah, he'll build quite a few gas worth of infestors too. So that's another thing where I think my opponent here is making a misplay. He goes, is there a ground carapace? That's not a misplay. That's very common to do. And I'm doing it as well, and not far behind on it, as a matter of fact. This is Overseer. And this is just going to be Roach, Hydra, and Corruptor, with a couple of infestors for support against just gobs of Mutalisks and Zerglings. Now, I figure I'm a little late to do it, but might as well pick up a 3rd expansion. And my scouting pretty much guarantees that I know, well, he could have expanded here and I wouldn't have noticed, maybe. I see his Overseer, but yeah, anyway, my scouting told me that other than his natural, he didn't really have an expansion. And here I'm careful to just bring my Mutalisks along. I don't want him to know that I'm pulling Lings here. And I'm getting all kinds of upgrade techs to try to hold on to my advantage. And my opponent sees the expansion because of the zergling and decides to head out for it. And I guess he wants no part of that. Now here, his army composition is probably a little bit better than mine. Not by much, but he's pretty much started to counter what I'm doing. His problem, however, is twofold. One, I am ahead on upgrades, including my zerglings. He allowed me to even get adrenal glands, or no, not quite, but yeah, I think they'll be done in time to be relevant during the fight. So he's behind on upgrades in general. His heir is behind on upgrades, and I'm 1-1 for the troops I'm using, and he's 0-1. So I'm ahead on upgrades, and I just have more supply of units by close to 30. So actually, I make a misplay here and get my stuff pulled like that, but that's because I was setting up a pincer attack. So this actually gets to be quite a lot of carnage here. But the zergling flank is pretty much worth it. I really like zergling flanks. I like zerglings in general, and he burrows his infestor and spams out a bunch of Terrans, but at this point it's a little late for that. And there's not enough of them to handle the critical mass of Mutalisks that I have now with level 2 weapon upgrades. So I clean out his forces. He's down to 50 supply. I'm at 90. So I actually came out ahead in that exchange in terms of supply at the end. Let's look at the units lost. Pretty even. I actually did a little better than him in terms of units lost here. Part of that's just because zerglings are so dirt cheap. And a lot of the units he constructed are not all that cheap. I never saw this infestor. That's not so good on my part. So I'm going to come after him, figuring I might as well press my advantage now. I won pretty handily there. I have a sizable force left to his nothing, and he's going to know I'm coming. So, oh well. Here come the cracklings with their now 2-2 upgrades. And he's going to have to try to defend. Fortunately, he doesn't have any banelings or anything like that. He's forced to unburrow. And once again, just a numbers game. Attack move for the win because he doesn't have the stuff to stop that. The Lings will take out some of the basic defense structures, kill the queen, and my opponent will be defeated. And no good game for me because I used an old school cheapish tactic. So there you have it. Good game, Citaval, and thank God you're not thoring me to death. Coming in team, signing out.